here, and I welcome you all for the afternoon session. That is our third session. Is on value addition, processing, and marketing of agriculture products, which will be taken by Dr. Sumit Mahajan. So now I invite to Rosni for introduction of Dr. Sumit Mahajan.
Good afternoon, all of you. I would like to welcome Dr. Sumit Mahajan, sir, who is currently working as an assistant professor at Lala Lajpat Rai University of Veterinary and Animal Sciences, Hisar. He did his master and doctorate from NDRI Karna. During his PhD, he was also awarded visiting scholarship by Food Security Center, Germany. He has more than 7 years of experience as assistant professor. He has around 40 publications in reputed journals, book, magazines, and training manual. He has completed 4 research projects. He has conducted many training sponsored by external funding agency like ICR, National Commission for Women, and etc. He is recipient of Best Paper awarded by Indian Dairy Association. He has delivered more than 30 lectures to farmers, entrepreneurs, unemployed youth, and women SHGs, and faculty member of SAUs. His area of interest include food security, demand analysis, food processing, value chain, veterinary services, dairy cooperatives, and resource use efficiency. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us, and over to you for further talk.
Thank you, Roshni. I am overwhelmed by your kind words. And no, I will, ma'am, shall I start now?
Yeah.
Ma'am, yes, I will share now the screen, okay?
Share your screen also. Yeah.
Okay. So the topic given to me was value addition, processing, and marketing of agricultural products. And first of all, in our daily lives, we confuse these both the terms, that is value addition and processing. And these are used interchangeably, but though there is a slight difference between them. Value addition is a broader term, and it can in which a higher price is realized for the same volume of a primary product by means of processing, packing, upgrading the product, or other such methods. And whereas food processing is defined as transforming agricultural products into food that are in consumable form, or transforming one food item into another by adding value to it. Now, depending upon the type and extent of value addition, the processing has been classified into primary and secondary and tertiary processing. Primary is just like converting the raw commodity to one that is fit for consumption, and which includes processes like drying, threshing, cleaning, etc. Whereas secondary processing involves creation of value-added products like bread, wine, sausages, and if there is large-scale commercial production of ready-to-eat products, which are also called ready-to-eat, RTE, or ready-to-cook foods, then it is called tertiary processing. So the present status of food processing industry: India ranks third in cereals, first in pulses, second in vegetables, second in fruit, and first in milk, and third in eggs, which seems like a large resource base for us, a raw material base for us for food processing industry. But there are significant post-harvest and post-harvest losses, as noted by CFET. And food processing industry, as compared to agriculture, has shown a huge growth rate of 11.2% in the last 5 years, whereas agriculture has grown only at around 4.2%. And it contributes heavily to GDP, employment, and investment. The FPI sector, that is food processing industry sector, contributed as much as 9.87% of GVA in manufacturing in 2019-20. Now, the next slide shows the food processing levels. The food processing levels on overall food is around 22% in India, which is much less than the other countries like our neighbor countries, that is China, where the food processing level is 30%, or the Western countries where the food processing level is 50 to 60%. At commodity level, the core cereals, they have a significant amount of processing, and that has increased over the time. And all the commodities have shown some increase, but the increase in the processing has been significant in fish and meat sector, and where the demand, where the foreign demand is very high, and now the highest processing levels are being noted in our meat sector now. Among the registered FPI, they have the largest number of factories, and also engage largest number of persons as well. That means they have a very large employment potential, and we are contributing very heavily. As per ASI, there are around 20 lakh workers working in this FPI, which is largest for any manufacturing segment. In unregistered food processing sector, the contribution of this FPI to the employment is around 51 lakh worker, which is 14.8 of unorganized sector. And similarly, this FPI figures very highly in among top 5 in fixed capital, gross value added, and output. And this is the next slide shows the regional distribution of FPI. Regional distribution, there is one, as you all know, there is one organized and there is an unorganized sector. Among the organized sector, the South region weighs very heavily in food processing industry, where nearly 50% of the industries are in southern region. And but where in unorganized enterprises, there are all over the India, there is more or less similar position. If we talk about state-wise, then Telangana and Andhra Pradesh are very high in account for largest number of registered factories, whereas in unorganized factories, UP and West Bengal are the highest, have the highest number of unregistered factories. I will not go into detail because there is one lecture also of export and import of processed foods. That's why I will just keep it very small discussion on this agri-food process. This the share of processed food in food exports is around 22%, which amounts to 8.5 billion. Whereas the import is just the share of processed food in food import is just 13%, that is 2.75 billion. So the imports are very less and exports are very high from our country, and these exports are increasing over the years, as you can see in the graph, where the in 2017 it was just over $5.5 billion, but now this has increased to, as you can see, $8.5 billion in just 3-4 years. The next slide gives shows the segment-wise landscape of food processing industry. In this table, you can see that the largest contribution of gross value added is by the packaged food, and after which the cereal, grains, and oilseeds come. But the growth rate of all the industries is good, except cereal, grains, and oilseeds. And exports, but if we look at exports, the exports from meat and marine is going to be very high, reaching very high now, even though the rate of growth in cereals, grains, and oilseeds is very less, but the exports are highest from this sector. And share of exports is highest in cereals and meat and marine segment. Employment potential of food processing industries. Papang and Singh et al. In 2000 have studied this labor absorbing potential in organized and unorganized food processing industry. Both studies suggest that skilled and knowledge-based labor can be effectively employed for increasing the output in FPI, that is food processing industries, because these both the organized and unorganized have very huge capital intensity, that is overcapitalization of this food processing industry is there, due to which if we employ labor which has knowledge to operate them, then the output can be increased significantly. Further, Government of India also states that for every rupees 1 million invested, there are around 18 direct jobs and 64 indirect jobs in organized food industry. So therefore, with the proximity of food processing industry to rural areas and its linkages with agricultural sector, further development of food processing industry will help in solving the unemployment problem, and there will be a boon for rural areas through the multiplier effect. This slide shows the trend in labor employment in food processing industry. As you can see that the labor employment has increased over time, though the increase is not very significant. So you can see that employment has increased, and now the employment has reached around 20 lakh in registered food processing industry. And this line shows the growth rate. The growth rate has somewhat negative, somewhere positive, but the overall CAGR is around 2.1% in registered food processing industry. Food processing industry has also very significant contribution from women also. Women, that is, women employment is also taken care by food processing sector. But the unorganized has a higher presence of women employees, because the unorganized sector has cottage industries where family labor is used, and women are also significant part of those family members. So policy initiatives for food processing include, first and foremost, is Pradhan Mantri Kisan Sampada Yojana, which was launched in year 2017, and it consists of various schemes, and among major is mega food parks, integrated cold chain and value addition infrastructure, creation and expansion of food processing and preservation, creation of infrastructure for agro processing clusters, creation of backward and forward linkages, food safety and quality assurance infrastructure, human resource and institutions, and operations greens. Among them, the name itself can indicate what kind of scheme it will be. For example, integrated cold chain shows that it gives it helps in the entrepreneurs in establishing cold chain, and through buying this distribution hub or reefer vans or controlled atmospheres and different equipment needed for maintaining the cold chain, or like we can say also get the logistics support for this cold chain also. Similarly, there is a creation or expansion of food processing. That means if we want to enhance our increase the size of our plant, then also we can use the help of Ministry of Food Processing. And there
due to some technical glitch.
Hello, Sumit sir.
वो तो नहीं है मैम connect. Okay.
Dear participants, please wait for some time. Due to some technical issues, we lost the connection of our speaker. So please wait for some time. Participants, please be online. He will try to connect very shortly. Yeah, he's connecting now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Shall I
sir.
continue, ma'am?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
ma'am.
share. You continue, sir. You shared the
Okay,
slides. You
okay,
continue.
okay, ma'am. Okay. So I was talking about this scheme known as Food Safety and Quality Assurance Infrastructure.
Sir, please, can you put the slides on the full screen mode?
Yes, ma'am, I have put it. Full screen is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, you continue, sir. No issue.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Then food safety and quality assurance infrastructure scheme is there, in which they give help for establishment of labs which can be used for quality testing of exports as well as imports, so that our standards in international markets remain high, and also we care for our domestic consumer. Also, human resources and institution, they provide training as well as research and development. This is Operation Greens, which was recently added. You might be knowing that there was one scheme known as TOP was there, which related to the preservation and processing of tomato, onion, and potatoes. But recently, it has been converted into top to total, where they have included many fruits, 10 fruits and 12 vegetables have been included in this scheme, so that their processing and preservation can be carried out. And among this major scheme is mega food parks, which I will like to discuss a little bit. This has many components, where major component is core processing facilities. And core processing facilities includes two types of processing centers. One is central processing centers, and there are multiple primary processing centers or collection centers. These collection centers are located to very near to the villages or production centers, from where they are carried out, and they also have some small processing abilities, and then they are transported to this central processing center in the mega food park. And then we have this factory buildings are required for because these facilities are there is central processing center. It deals with the multiple, you can say that there are large number of entrepreneurs having offices in that food park, and these are common processing facilities. So there are factory buildings are there for individual entrepreneur. Then land is given on lease for minimum for 75 years. You cannot buy land in these schemes, but you can have lease for the land. And then there is non-core infrastructure is there, which deals with the non-core infrastructure, deals with that health welfare of the workers, like a canteen is there, hostel is there, these buildings are there. And then finally enabling basic infrastructure is there, where there is infrastructure like electricity, roads, telecommunication, drainage, etc. is there in these mega food parks. Presently, there are around 41 mega food parks have been approved, out of which 22 are operational. right now. Then second initiative by this Ministry of Food Processing Industry is Prime Minister formalization of micro food processing enterprises, which was launched in 2020-21, and its main objective is to uh, uh, support for transition of existing 2 lakh micro enterprises into formal framework, because as I told you that there is a large there are large number of people that is long, around 50 lakh people are employed in unorganized sector, so which are who are working in around 2 lakh enterprises. So the government has is trying them to bring into the organized sector through this scheme. And in this scheme they will provide access to credit, and also they will integrate the organized supply chain. They will also have the increased access for enterprises to professional and technical support, like there can be professional consultant for preparing the DPRs, and there will be common processing facilities and such as. So this is the method to bring them into the registered sector. And the approach they have adopted for this formalization is that this one district one product scheme, in which there is they are trying to reap the benefits of scale in terms of procurement of inputs, input procurement, availing the common services and marketing of products. That means there is a common processing facility in which all the and entrepreneurs will process their products. And as the name indicate, one district one product, that is in that district if there is a large number of this then the third paragraph also shows the product selected is either a perishable agri produce cereal based product or a food product widely produced in that district, or it can be minor forest produce or traditional food products in a district and their allied sectors. Main features are they will provide credit for that, branding and marketing support. There are some they have developed some brands in this, like Makhana King is there, which they have developed in Bihar. And there is support for common infrastructure, that like common processing facilities. And then there is capacity building, which is occurring through the agriculture universities, as well as NIFTEM and NIFTEM in Kundli and Tanjavur. Then third policy initiative is a production link, which is very recently they have announced, Prime Minister has announced this production linked incentive scheme for food processing industry in 2021. It is major goal is to support the creation of global food brands and of Indian products and in the international markets. So first component is to incentivize we have very large, we have a small share of processing major processed foods such as RTE, that is ready to eat and ready to cook foods. They have very small share in the processed foods. That's why they are incentivizing these things so that they can be exported in the foreign markets. And then we have this second component is relates to the innovative or organic products of small and medium enterprises, including free range egg. Free range egg, that means in which the eggs are the poultry birds are not confined, poultry meats, and then egg products in these 4 segments. And then third component relate itself to the marketing and branding in the foreign markets. So this scheme has been hailed by all the industry leaders. And then there is another scheme which is known as Dairy Entrepreneurship Development Scheme, which is being run by Department of Animal Husbandry, Dairying and Fisheries since 2010. NABARD is the nodal agency for implementation of this scheme, and this scheme is being implemented through commercial banks and RRBs and cooperative banks. Though this scheme has a focus on all of the dairy value chain, right from the production of milk, transportation and processing, we will mostly confine ourselves to the transport and processing of the milk, that is bulk cooling units, and then dairy processing units purchase of their support, provide support for purchase of dairy processing equipments also. And then transportation facilities like buying a insulated van or something like that for maintaining cold chain of dairy products. And then establishment of cold storage for milk products. For all these things, DEDS also funds the farmers. Now, what data we can use to study the food processing industry? There are three sets of data which can be used to study this food processing industry. First one is CMIE. PROES data is the database. It is a private database maintained by Center for Monitoring Indian Economy, and these contain the data. They get the data from annual reports of companies, stock exchanges, and regular data. Regulators are the principal sources of the data. Now, what is the good thing about this panel? This data is that you can get the data for a particular company over the period of time. That is, you can make a panel data, and over the years you can, because we have in India have very less secondary sources of panel data, and CMI provides data is such a database which can be used, but it is very costly, so it is not being used by many researchers. So second type of data is which is and it because it is for the companies and stock exchanges. That means it is only for the registered food processing industries only. Then for there is another source of data is ASI data, that is Annual Survey of Industries data, which is also which is given by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. They conduct this survey annually and provide the data. But the problem is that with this data, we cannot find the panel data, because you cannot know whether the same factory came in the sample this time or not. Then another for focusing on unorganized data factories or unorganized FPI, there is an NOC, so National Sample Survey Organization data on unincorporated non-agricultural enterprises or unorganized manufacturing. They are the last round was conducted in 73rd round in 2015-16. So this slide shows the impact of COVID-19 on food processing industries. If you will see that the packaged foods was the only segment which was not touched at all by the this COVID-19. There is no red mark in the whole supply chain, right from production till consumption. There is no red mark, and for all the other supply chains, you can see that there is red mark significantly for this meat and marine, which was heavily impacted by the COVID-19, and another was fruit and vegetable, which was affected at the consumption level because there was reduced demand from the hotels and restaurants and cafes. Similarly, there is one sector, cereals, grains, and oil seeds, which was also not affected by the COVID-19 because there was little delay in the sowing and harvesting due to labor shortage at the production level. But after that, the government took care of it and marketed it properly, so there was no significant impact on this segment. And dairy was the one segment which was also affected very heavily, and because of reduced consumption from the hotels and restaurants. And then and also it cannot be stored for a long time, so the prices of dairy and dairy products fell very significantly. Next portion of my presentation is agricultural marketing. You all have been studying agriculture marketing at your levels for a very long time. So there is not much new to tell in this. So the concept of agriculture marketing comprises all operations involved in the movement of farm produce from the producer to the ultimate consumers. Thus, agriculture marketing includes the operations like collecting, grading, processing, preserving, transporting, and financing. So, present status of agriculture marketing in India, there are only 4 methods. That is, sale in primary markets. There are around 22,000 primary markets in India, in which the agriculture produce is sold. Then there is sale in mandis, which are also wholesale markets. There are around 6,000 wholesale markets in India. And then there is cooperative marketing. We will deal with it in the next slide. Then there are regulated markets, and which are more than 7,000 in number throughout India. And in these regulated markets include yard as well as principal markets. So we will know about, and there are large number of authors have repeatedly told about the disadvantages of regulated markets. There are now a large number of deficiencies or inefficiencies are going on. And then there is cooperative marketing is there. Cooperative market at national level, the apex body is NAFED, which we all know. And at state level, there are state marketing federations. Then at district level, district marketing cooperatives are there. And then finally, at regional level, we have primary marketing societies. So, defects of agriculture marketing in India. We all have been talking throughout our academic career about these things. That is lack of storage facilities or warehousing. Then distress sale, because the farmers don't have storage capacities. That's why they resort to distress sale. And then we have lack of logistics or transportation. And we have unfavorable mandis. That is, I told you about. That's then there is intermediaries or middlemen are there, which take away a lot, which charge a very high marketing cost for this marketing the product. And then there is lack of market intelligence, though this particular aspect is being taken care by the government very lately. Lately now it is being taken care by Marknet and other agency. ENAM is there. So lack of grading, absence of common trade language. Common trade language, because India is a diverse country and we need to have no particular language can be used in all the these operations. And variation in market charges is there, and heavy village trade. More than 52% of the produce is sold itself in the primary village markets. So very less marketable surplus is there with the farmer. Then activities initiated to modernize agriculture marketing in India. The first and foremost, there is farmer producer organization, which has been recently only it has been started, and these are being taken care by small farmer agricultural agribusiness consortium. What is FPO? FPO is a group of rural producers coming together based on the principles of membership to pursue specific common interests of their members and developing technical and economic activity that benefit their farmers. And these have a large number of range of services they provide. That is, they get input supply, they get financial help also, and technical help also. And then marketing linkages also can be better developed through contract farming and procurement under MSP, and training and networking, that is policy advocacy and documentation is there. So it was these FPOs were formed under the recommendation of YKLR committee under the Companies Act only. They are different from cooperative, because the cooperatives are registered under Cooperative Societies Act, but this FPO is registered under Companies Act. And that, as I told you, that SFAC, that is Small Farmer Agribusiness Consortium, is the nodal agency for providing all-round support to FPOs and their other entities engaged in promotion and development of FPOs. Currently, there are around 700 registered FPO which have mobilized more than 1 lakh farmers. Impact of to study the impact of FPOs in small SFAC, they conducted one study in the whole district of Gujarat, where they showed that the production increased, and there was also increased the net return to the farmers. There was reduced gap in the availability of inputs, and further food and nutritional security situation also improved, and there was market linkage improved through forward and backward integration. There was additional employment generated also due to increased intensity of farming, and reduction in migration was observed. So on the basis of these findings only, they started pushing the FPO country. This is a flow diagram which shows the farmer agribusiness linkages in a FPO. that is, farmers sell their produce to the farmer company, and in turn they get input, credit, and extension services. And farmer company, they sell to different industries or supermarket chain or to agrarian service centers. And uh, but in turn they also receive the input or extension services from the buyers also. So it is a win-win situation for farmer who don't have to worry about marketing their output. Then organized retailing retailing in agri food products. This is a major concept which is being going on recently. And in this there are some this Safal market is there, Reliance is there, and recently we are hearing all about this Big Bazaar and future company, about future company whose deal is not going through. So these all are reaping the benefit of organized retail chains. And but Singh, in a recent study published in Economic and Political Weekly, he found that only large farmers can only derive the advantage of selling to these organized retail chains. So they are failing in this aspect, that they are not going to help the small farmers. So this is not a good thing for small farmers, but big farmers are getting benefited from these organized retail chains. And organized retailing still is very nascent stage. It is still 7%, and 93% of the market is being dominated by unorganized retailing. Papang also in this reported that emergence of modern markets, that is organized retailing, has not directly integrated the farmers in the supply chain. So there are two studies which are directly documenting this thing, that the small farmers particularly are not getting benefited due to these organized retail chains, which though they should have been the direct beneficiary of this whole organized retail chains. The primary reason is due to that these retail chain, these companies are directly procuring from either from the wholesalers or from the large farmers. But these retail chains also have not, there has been no detrimental effect on the organized retail chains on the volume or traditional players, that is all kirana and stores, and they have not also not affected them. So more or less the effect has been minimal of these organized retail chains. Then there is one concept recently, multi-brand retail. In multi-brand retail, they have allowed 100% foreign direct investment. And foreign direct investment, when it comes with the large baggage. There are some advantages, there are some disadvantages. And advantages that they bring the latest technology with them, but disadvantages is that and these technology might have good effect on the other industries also, and the disadvantage is that they might drive out the local businesses from this business of marketing or retails. So this is not a great concept. It can have both a positive as well as negative effect. Recently Papang did this study in 2018 in Punjab and Haryana, and they found that FDI does not seem to be a threat to the traditional sellers in the Indian context. That means the traditional sellers, that is the kirana or local this push cart people who sell fresh vegetables and fruits, or traditional people who are selling this in the traditional ways, all these fresh fruits and vegetables. And also consumer have a positive attitude towards FDI in retail, because consumers think that they will get better quality and lower prices, and due to that they have a positive attitude towards FDI in retail. And the author notes that there is a need for institutional mechanisms to be developed so that the farmers can benefit from the entry of supermarket in food retail, because as we have noted that these food retails have not directly benefited the farmers, particularly the small ones. So there's need to be their institutional mechanisms should be developed so that which can help the small farmers getting in the value chain system. So we all know about this concept, e-market, e-nam, which was launched in year 2016, and its purpose was to integrate 585 regulated markets, which are functioning through APMCs. And the main idea was to provide transparency in pricing by removing the information asymmetry between sellers and buyers and enabling farmers to benefit from the price discovery. Agricultural supply chain is is a modified version of marketing channels, and it is a system of organization, people's activity, information, and resources involved in the moving a product or service from producer to consumer. This is a conventional agri supply chain. No, I didn't use the e-commerce space because I saw that there is one lecture to going to be organized on e-commerce, online marketing of the food products. So that's why I have skipped that. And you can see that marginal or average large farmer, they sell to the village lenders, or they can also go to mandis, or then through mandi this goes to auction purchase by Artia, and which who sold to stockists and processors, and finally it reaches either to wholesaler or retailer or to consumer. So the way forward for this whole topic is for encashing the recent increase of the scheme which has been announced by the central government. So through how we can benefit from that, and the post COVID scenario has also taught us a lot of things, and particularly affects this COVID-19 has affected the domestic demand. So COVID-19 pandemic has led to increased acceptance for processed foods. So as we saw that processed foods is not being affected at all by all the factors, right from the production till it reached to consumption. There was no effect on their marketing as well as consumption of these processed foods, and the demand for the the processed foods will keep coming from the rural areas as well as tier 2 and tier 3 cities. As we said that there is one production linked incentive scheme, and which is focusing on ready to eat segment, that is RTE segment. And these are and why the government is focusing on these segments, because these are the segments only which are likely and drive the demand. And e-commerce and direct to customer, that is a large number of this entering this space, that is large number of companies are entering this space, grofers and all these people, big basket are coming to this space in the big cities. And there are multiple, we know only name of 2 or 3, there are multiple businesses and entrepreneurs in this segment who are selling different types of. Now they are getting into specializing in meat, specializing in vegetables, specializing in fruits, specializing in milk. So there is large amount of things are going on into the supply of these fresh products also. So e-commerce and direct to customer are displacing traditional retail as producers redistribute their supply chains post COVID-19 and reach consumers at their doorstep. So all this the scheme which we talked about also, that is PMFME, that is Prime Minister's formulation of industry, is also focused on converting the unorganized sector to organized sector, so that they get the benefit of increased growth rates. Or then there also demand also reaches the large number of consumers, and they also get the benefit of proper branding and marketing. So that's why these things are going to drive the demand of processed foods. Then second aspect is the processing capacity and quality infrastructure. And GOI, that is Government of India, has rolled out various schemes for encouraging processing capacity in meat and marine and dairy and fruit and vegetable segments. And also we have this we talked about this scheme, that is production linked incentive scheme that is which have made happy the lot of entrepreneurs in the food processing segment, and because they are being marketed not only in India, they are giving marketing support for marketing their products in abroad markets also. And then technology is a major factor which will affect the this food processing industry and marketing of these processed foods. And there is direct need to increase the cold storage capacity. A study by National Center for Cold Storage under Department of Ministry of Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, they have seen that there is a large gap in the cold storage. And like they have talked about, and there is only refers are only 10,000 which are needed in that to the tune of 70,000, and the cold storage capacity is required to the tune of 90 million tons, but it is still 25 million tons. So there is a large gap in the cold storage which they are targeting also, government is targeting, but this needs to be addressed properly so that we have very less harvest and post harvest losses. Another aspect of this technology is that food processing equipment is mostly being imported from foreign countries like Germany and France, and all these countries are only selling this food processing equipment, which is leading, which is causing a loss to our exchequer, and due to which and therefore this is the sector which needs to be targeted, that is food processing equipment market should be developed in India only, and government should provide support for developing these equipment in India only. Digitalized supply chain, smart warehousing, that is we should use proper applications and blockchain technologies in full supply chain, that is intelligent supply chain management. Also blockchain and Internet of Things should be used so that the consumer also has confidence on the product which he's going to purchase. And this technologies, this smart warehousing and digitalized supply chain and intelligent supply chain will also help in securing or discovering best price for the produce of the farmers. Then another thing which should be taken care, it is institutional structure. We have seen that a large number of schemes are there which are being run by different agencies, and there is no coordination among these agencies. So recent initiatives like National Single Window Clearance System and Project Development Cell are steps in the right direction, which will help in looking at whether the same people are getting benefit of the schemes, or there are a large number of people also who are getting benefits, or it is being it means to say that the benefit of all these schemes should not go to a particular set of people only, and other people also, small entrepreneurs, should also get equal weightage in getting these schemes and getting the support from the government. Last is driving growth through innovation. Now, most of the startups have registered a good growth rate of more than 35% since 2014, and but most of the startups in agri-tech domain have come up in the food retail, where they have used this blockchain technologies and Internet of Things, and service domain, that is they are selling the things, that is retail mostly at the consumer level only they are doing the things, but not in the processing. In the processing there have not been much innovation there in the processing. All the big companies are like grofers and all these big basket, all the companies are coming in the retail sector, that is they are just supplying the things, not actually processing the stuff. So there is a growing need of entrepreneurship in the middle layer of processing also. And with this, I will like to thank you for listening to me. Thank you, sir. Thank you, audience.
Thank you, Daksa, for your nice talk, and you have covered all the topics related to food processing, value addition, and agriculture marketing even. So you covered the topics like value addition and processing, food processing industry, their present status.
Mhm.
Sorry, sir, we are having some connectivity issue actually. Then again, you covered some the topics like agriculture marketing, their present status and defects of the agriculture marketing, FUs, cooperative marketing, organized retailing in agri-food products, e-markets, agriculture supply chain, and the way forwards. So many things you have covered in your topic and in your session. So thank you so much for conducting the nice session. Now we are having some questions about your session, sir, from the participant side. So I'm putting one by one before you. First question is that the food processing level is very less in almost all the commodities in India as compared to other countries like China and other the developed countries. So, sir, what are the reasons behind this? Why, even though we are leading in many of the food products and many of the crops are leader in production, the part which is going in the processing is very less. So, what are the reasons behind that?
Ma'am, this is the due to the low resource base. First of all, we didn't have much to export in the first place, and all the we have seen growth in this fish sector, marine sector, particularly because uh, because there was large amount of marketable surplus which was available with the farmers was there, and that's why when they introduced this surplus to the processing, that's why the growth of these exports also increased. Similar is the case of meat also. We have much meat available, market surplus was there, so that's why we have increased meat. So that's why the processing of meat is increasing rapidly. On the other hand, food and fruits and vegetables have not been able to take the advantage of processing because we have a large amount of harvest and post harvest losses in fruits and vegetables particularly. And in milk, again, we don't have much trade to do. And that's why the processing levels are only restricted to the 21%, and only restricted to the domestic trade only, not in the foreign trade. We don't have any much presence in all these things.
Yes, sir. Okay, then another query is that what are the reasons of the more number of food processing industries and the organized as well as the unorganized sectors are going on in our southern part of the country as compared to other parts? So is there any special government supports or some kind of
the only thing I can see is that they might be having better institutional structure in the southern India, where the people are coming forward to register their enterprises, whereas same enterprises are not being registered in our UP, or we can say West Bengal. They are not being registered. That's why we have launched this. The government has launched this scheme, that is PMFME. where we are going to formalize these unorganized sector. That is the only thing. Otherwise, if we start regulating all these things, we bring them into the organized sector, then there will be equally distributed all over country.
Okay, sir. Sir, again, first means the question is similar to first question. That is, we know that India is leader in the fruits and vegetables after the China, but still, even though tomorrow we are having lecture for that only, but the share of export is very less.
Yes,
with regards to our processed products.
Yes,
in raw, we are having the good share, but in processed products, we are having the very less share in the export as compared to other countries. So again, the same thing.
The share of exports, the major reason for this, I will tell you that there is non-adoption of the SPS and phytosanitary measures, sanitary phytosanitary measures, and due to these, we are not adopting all these. Like we don't have. Recently, there has been one policy support from Ministry of Food Processing Industry. They are providing term loans for establishing this quality maintenance at their industry only, and so that we can adopt this, where we say GAP, GHP, GMP, that is general manufacturing practices, general agricultural practices, general hygiene practices. All these practices we are not achieving, and further we don't have proper certification of our products. We need that. For example, we need this ISO certification, proper certification, which is lacking. And I conducted this seminar on for the ICR candidates also, where we talked about this, providing this benefit, this knowledge about this certification, because we are not concerned about much about certification. Once certification of our products comes to our products, then easily we can market our products, which are not only good in value, but they will also help the farmers, not only the entrepreneurs also.
Okay, sir. Sir, another query is that now we all know that FPO is a good model, and nowadays it's a very famous model. So, and one of the activities also there, processing in the FPO. So how the FPOs can contribute to increase the processing at the farm levels? So the farmers can take the benefits of these, and they can do the processing at the farm levels.
Ma'am, at the farm level, the best method is by choosing this what do you call scheme, by taking the benefit of this scheme, PMFME. Now in PMFME, they have not only given support for subsidy and all these supports, they are giving capital subsidy, they are giving, and also this will not help them also getting capital subsidy, but they are also providing support for writing DPRs, detailed project reports. Hello. So they are providing support not only for this capital subsidy and all these subsidies, but also for these are getting support for how to prepare this DPR, how to get the help from different people, which are the project consultants. They are helping throughout the process. That's why FPO should go to the government and take help through this PMFME scheme only. This will help them in securing the good processing infrastructure at farm level.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, again, one and two queries are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any policy initiatives from the government to increase the primary processing at the levels? Even though you have mentioned many policy initiatives by the government, but the farmers directly can increase the processing at their farm levels. Is there any kind of schemes and supports are from the government side?
Ma'am, in this aspect, I want to again emphasize this. Last year, I think to all the agricultural universities, they sent this scheme, that is PMFME, formulation of micro processing enterprises, where this scheme is very much beneficial for single person also. If he is involved in processing, he will also get even though his manufacturing processing level is very small, he has very less to spend, even then they will be helped through this. In problem is in this, the methodology they have adopted is one district, one produce approach. That is, if the farmer is producing a product which is abundantly available in that district, the district holds distinction in producing it, then they can easily take the advantage of common processing facility. Common processing facility will be given to all the people. For example, this FPO is coming up in this Meghalaya Shillong for turmeric. They are giving this turmeric facility only for, they are establishing this common processing facility for only for turmeric only. And then this over the time, the FPOs and single people, single individual also will be able to derive benefit from these schemes. This is meant for this kind of schemes only. Similarly, mega food parks are there, but they are this, that scheme is meant for the people who have very huge resource base, they have very huge capital to invest, and then they can come up in the mega food parks scheme. Otherwise, PM FME scheme is the best scheme to go to this. And for dairy products, there is dairy entrepreneurship development scheme. We can also take help through that also.
Yeah, sir, in continue of this, our one district and one product. So as one side, we are seeing that government is promoting the diversification. We are aware the farmers about the diversification. It's time to time we are aware. And the one side, we are promoting the one district and one product. So what is your view, sir? How it will benefit to the farmers, and how will we convey the farmers? They go to the diversification, they go for the one district, one product. So what is your view regarding
this? If the district is having a distinct competitive advantage in producing some commodity which is available mostly in that district only, in that area only, then of course one district, one product should be taken, should be brought into the concept. Otherwise, if they are not having any particular product in that district, then they should focus on diversification to minimize the risk, because in that area, the government is not going to help them, but at least through crop diversification, they will be able to minimize the different types of risk which we face, with the farmers face, so that we can reduce our risk. Otherwise, because this scheme is only meant for those products which are abundantly available in that district, so that we can process them jointly through the common processing ability, through the common processing infrastructure, which will be given by financed by the government. So if the district is not having very competitive advantage in producing some particular kind of products, then they should focus on crop diversification only, because they have a very small, resource base. They have very small farm size, so they should they cannot go for even for producing. They cannot focus all their energy on one product only, because that will make them not only insecure, but there will be a large amount of risk also.
Yeah. So, sir, is there any risk managing strategies are there for the one district and one product? Because obviously the farmers will go for the one product, so the risk is more. We all know.
Ma'am, not
so
audible.
Any mechanism?
Not
hello.
Not audible, madam.
Okay. Now it is audible, sir. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. हाँ, please, ma'am. Please speak, ma'am.
Sir, आ रहा आवाज? Hello.
हाँ जी, मैम आ रहा.
Okay, sir. What I'm saying that we know that if one product and one district mechanism is there, so obviously the risk is high. So, is there any mechanism to overcome the risk from the government side? Because there are many kind of risks are there, like natural risk, then physical risk, then price risk. So, from government side, what about the risk management?
What about that risk? Basically, they are trying to form some kind of FPO in this kind of scenario. And one district, one product means that they will form an FPO of all the people who are involved in that marketing, produce and marketing of the production, processing and marketing of the item. So a risk will be there in every kind of business, but that certainly maybe there will be some kind of risk minimizing things which will be there, because government must have thought through this. I am not aware of particular any risk minimizing strategy, but there must be something through which they will be minimizing the risk.
Sir, another query is what is the role of this contract farming in the processing? Nowadays, the contract farming is also coming out in a very good manner. And
Yeah, contract farming was a very the recently given the farm repealed farm laws was having a major contentious issue of contract farming. So contract farming can be they can be partial contracts, they can be full contracts. So contract farming is always a good thing to do for particularly for the product which is going to be processed. Okay,
Yeah.
so that for that there is the contract farm is a very good concept for marketing of their produce, because the farmers don't have to worry about the price they will be getting in the future, and it is mostly a kind of hedging only in contracts, and so contract farming is good for agriculture marketing.
Yeah. Sir, only last question. It is for me only, not I think from the participant. What about the successfulness of these FPOs in your states, means in the Haryana, just for awareness, sir? Because FPOs, it's the successful is vary from state to state. Even if we look at the Maharashtra,
ma'am, in the neighboring state, our this Punjab is there, and Punjab they have a very good this experience in. You said FPOs, I think.
Yeah, FPOs.
FPOs, they're having in the last state where I worked, it was in Chhattisgarh, and they had one Sarthak FPO in milk production only, because I work in mostly in the area of milk production, and they were, even though you will not hear the name of Chhattisgarh in milk production and processing anywhere, but they did a very fine job in this FPO did a very great job in production. Not only they made aware, because people in Chhattisgarh don't drink milk much, so they made people aware about milk, its benefits, and in that process they also marketed their milk also. So their focus was also on this milk production, and making people aware about and about the milk benefits of milk, and that derived the their sale actually, and they were awarded actually for some of this thing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I have put many questions before you, and you have answered in a very well and understandable manner. So thanks a lot for this wonderful session, sir.
Thank you.
Now this is the end of our session. Now the discussion for the participants, announcement for the participant is tomorrow from 9:30 we will again meet at the same platform, and we are having our another session at tomorrow 9:30. So up to 9:30 we will back, and we will take care. Okay, so we will finish here, sir. We will stop the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.